The Zephyrian armada emerged from hyperspace like a plague of metallic locusts, their crystalline hulls gleaming against the void. Admiral Keffer stood on the bridge of the flagship Dominion's fist, his forearms clasped behind his chitinous back as he gazed upon the blue marble that hung defenseless before them. "No defensive perimeter," reported his tactical officer, mandibles clicking with satisfaction. "No orbital platforms. The primitives appear completely unaware of our presence." Keffer's compound eyes glittered with cold satisfaction. For 3 cycles, the Galactic Empire had demanded Earth's submission. For 3 cycles, the humans had responded with silence. The Council of Hierarchs had finally grown tired of waiting. "Begin the cleansing protocol," he commanded. "Leave nothing alive." The first wave of plasma bombardment lanced down toward Earth's major population centers. New York, London, Tokyo, Beijing all prepared to become monuments to Imperial might. But as the deadly energy reached the planet's atmosphere, something impossible happened. The beam simply stopped. A shimmering barrier of energy had materialized around Earth, deflecting the assault harmlessly into space. Alarms began shrieking across the Zephyrian fleet as their sensors detected massive energy signatures on what they had assumed was empty space. "Sir," the tactical officer's voice cracked with disbelief, "we're detecting ships, hundreds of them." They were cloaked. The human fleet decloaked in perfect formation around Earth, sleek vessels that seemed to bend light around their edges. At their head was a massive dreadnought that dwarfed even the Imperial flagship. A transmission crackled through the Zephyrian communication array. The voice that emerged was calm, almost conversational, speaking in perfect galactic standard. "This is Admiral Sarah Chun of the Terran Defense Fleet. You have entered Sol System without permission and fired upon civilian populations. You have 30 seconds to surrender." Keffer's laugh was a harsh, chittering sound. "Surrender? To these primitives? We outnumber them 3-1. 20 seconds, came the human voice, unchanged. "Open fire on all targets." Keffer roared. "Showed him the price of defying the Empire." The Zephyrian fleet unleashed everything they had. Plasma cannons, fusion torpedoes, antimatter missiles, enough firepower to crack a moon. The human ships didn't even attempt to dodge. They simply absorbed the assault, their hulls shimmering with some kind of adaptive shielding that seemed to grow stronger with each impact. 10 seconds. Admiral Chun announced. Then the humans fired back. It wasn't the crude kinetic weapons or primitive lasers the Zephyrians had expected. These were weapons that seemed to tear reality itself. Purple-white beams that didn't just destroy matter, they deleted it from existence. Torpedoes that phased through shields and armor as if they weren't there before detonating inside enemy hulls. The Imperial fleet's left flank simply ceased to exist. Impossible. Keffer screamed as half his armada vanished in the span of heartbeats. "Our intelligence said they were centuries behind us technologically." His communications officer looked up with terror in his compound eyes. "Sir, I'm receiving reports from across the galaxy. Human fleets are appearing everywhere. They're dismantling our border worlds." On the main screen, Admiral Chun's face appeared a middle-aged woman with steel-gray hair and eyes like winter storms. Behind her, the bridge of her ship hummed with technology that made Zephyrian systems look like stone knives. "Did you really think," she said conversationally, "that a species capable of faster-than-light travel would be as primitive as we appeared? We've been watching you for 50 years, Admiral Keffer, learning, preparing. More human ships were appearing, emerging from what the Zephyrians now realized weren't empty sectors but sophisticated, cloaking fields that had hidden entire fleets. Earth hadn't been defenseless, it had been the center of a web that spanned half the galaxy. "We tried diplomacy," Chun continued as another wave of Zephyrian ships was efficiently eliminated. "We sent ambassadors. You executed them. We offered trade agreements. You demanded tribute. We requested simple recognition of our sovereignty. You responded with this." She gestured to the carnage around them. "So we did what humans do best, Admiral. We adapted, we learned, and we prepared for the day you would inevitably come to destroy us. Kefir's tactical display showed the scope of the trap. Human forces were simultaneously attacking Imperial installations across dozens of sectors. Shipyards, supply depots, command centers all fall into weapons and tactics the Empire had never seen. The humans you dismissed as primitives, Chun said, spent 50 years reverse engineering every piece of technology we could acquire, every fragment of data we could intercept. We studied your tactics, your strategies, your psychology. We know how your empire thinks, Admiral. You only know how to conquer. The remaining Zephyrian ships were trying to retreat, but human vessels appeared to cut off every escape route. They moved with inhuman precision, as if guided by a single intelligence. You see, we learned something important about ourselves during those years of preparation, Chun continued. Humans don't just adapt to survive. We adapt to win. Completely. Permanently. Kefir found himself alone on his bridge, his crew either dead or fled. His mighty flagship, pride of the Imperial Navy, was being systematically dismantled around him by weapons he couldn't even understand. Your empire spent millennia believing that might makes right, Admiral Chun said softly. Today, you discover what happens when you threaten a species that spent its entire evolutionary history learning to fight things bigger, stronger, and more dangerous than itself. The last thing Admiral Kefir saw was the Earth growing larger in his view screen, not because his ship was approaching it, but because the humans were towing his crippled vessel back to their world. Welcome to Sol System, Admiral, came Chun's voice one final time. Population, 7 billion humans who are very, very disappointed in your life choices. As the Dominion's fist was pulled into Earth's orbit alongside dozens of other captured Imperial vessels, Admiral Kefir finally understood the truth that would reshape the galaxy. Humanity had never been the prey. They had always been the apex predator.